Hi there, this is Robin, your chalk couture designer, and I am doing some more late night crafting. It's pretty snowy here in upstate New York, and I've been home crafting since early afternoon. I closed up shop because the roads were so bad. So tonight I wanted to show you, I am going to be inking on kitchen towels. I have one back here. This is just a kitchen towel. I bought it at one of the local craft stores. You can, needlepoint on them, embroider on them, whatever. Tonight we are going to be inking on them. And we are using the Chalk Couture ink because I'm going to heat set it and make it permanent. I have it right now set on the ink mat, which is sticky, so that when you put your fabric down, it's not going to slide all over the place. So I am going to be using 3 different transfers. I've got one over here. This one's drying because I've been using it. Those 3 different transfers to create my towel. And I'm going to use the black chalk ink. Now when you're inking on fabric, you don't necessarily have to fuzz your transfer because it's going to be on fabric, which means it's not going to be sticking too bad. It's going to come up fairly easy. So I'm just going to center my eggs down here. I open up my ink. Ink does not necessarily have to be stirred like the chalk paste does. And I'm going to grab a squeegee. Right here's my little squeegee, and this is how I'm going to apply the ink. I'm going to just scoop a little bit up. And the ink is much thinner than the chalk paste, so you definitely want to make sure your transfer is down nice and tight. It's not as forgiving as chalk paste, so if you go over the lines, it's a little bit more difficult to get out. It can be done. I've seen girls use the Tide markers. I don't know what they're called. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a Tide remover that's to help take it out. I'm going to get one and try it myself. All right, so here we go. So I'm going to just hold this down and just run my ink over my transfer. I'm going to make a second towel, so when I'm done with my transfer, I'm not going to put it directly in the water bath. I'm going to set it aside so that I can go ahead and make a sister towel to this. And when it is dry completely, I will ink set it. You can heat set with an iron. If you use a traditional iron, it's going to take 4 minutes on each side. And once it's heat set, it'll be permanent. I use a heat press, so I can cut my timing like way down. So, but either way works fine. Okay, there's my eggs, and that one didn't come out. This one right here is a little bit sparse, so I'm going to just lay my transfer back down. Get it as even as I can. And I just want to add a little bit more ink right there. Sometimes when you're working on fabric, the fabric has a tendency to soak it up a little bit more than the chalk paste. So, there we go. Alright, so I'm going to set this back on its backing until I need it a second time. And then I'm going to use eggs. I know this is probably backwards too. We're going to put the eggs right over top. Now, I'm not layering, so it's not necessarily important that this be completely dry. I am fanning it to get it a little bit drier in case I happen to touch it by mistake. If you want to layer your ink, it needs to be dry before you go on to the next one. So you're going to want to use a blow dryer to get that pretty dry. And you can't heat set until it's completely dry. So I'm going to lay my egg transfer, the words eggs. I'm going to center that to where the eggs are. And again, press your transfer down. Anywhere you see the screening, that needs to be nice and tight with no air bubbles. Otherwise, your ink will run underneath because the ink is much thinner than the chalk paste. So you will get some runs if you're not careful. And we're just going to repeat that process. Just like so. I know it probably looks like I'm using a lot of, oops, that slid on me a little bit. Hopefully we're okay. Looks like I'm using a lot of ink. I'm really not. Just when you're working on fabric, it sometimes soaks in a little bit quicker. Just keep going over your transfer. Work the ink down into the screening. I'm going to go over it again, make sure I got all my screening covered. Remove the excess. Okay, I'm going to very carefully lift up my transfer so I can look at that. The S is a little bit sparse, so I'm going to add some more here. Actually, we're just going to go over the whole. You want to be careful if you get anything on your fingers to keep baby wipes handy. Because if you touch your work, your fabric, anywhere where you don't want the ink to be, you're going to have a little bit of a problem. Especially with the black. The black is pretty deep pigmented, so that's going to be hard to get out. And once you heat set your projects, they are permanent. You can wash them. Alright. E is a little bit. One more spot right here on the top of the E. I want to hit that again. Right there. That should do it. Yep, looks good. There's the eggs. And we're going to put the word fresh. Well, the word fresh has been sitting over here on a towel drying because I used it earlier. And I had washed it and it was just about completely dry. Just fanning that one more time. I should really have a blow dryer right here, but I don't have one handy. So we're just going to wing it. And we're going to put the word fresh right over top of eggs. And you could work it, I worked it from the bottom up because I'm an eyeballer and I didn't really measure out anything. I mean, you could do this from the top down if you prefer. That way you won't have to worry about overlapping your words, but I like to work from the bottom up. Alright, and again, we're going to run our ink over our transfer. Work it right down. Alright, and I'm going to make sure I do another layer just because I think when you're working on fabric, that first layer kind of soaks into the fabric. So you kind of need a second one just to make sure you hit everything. And then very carefully remove my excess. Like so. And again, I'm going to lift that up very gingerly to make sure that Got everything covered the way I want. Oh, that H is a little bit wonky. Missed the top corner a little bit, so we're going to go back over that. A little bit on that S. And the lettering I'm using is made to look like it's been weathered, so it's not a complete crispy transfer. Okay, we are good. So there is my towel. Let me see if I can pull that up and show you what she looks like without disturbing the camera too much. Okay. So there is my towel. Farm Fresh eggs. And I'm just going to set that aside. I'm going to let that dry for a couple hours. And when it's dry to the touch, it's going to feel a little bit bumpy. And then I know it's ready to heat set. Once I heat set that on both sides, it'll be smooth to the touch. That's how you know that it's completely cured. So that is inking on a kitchen towel. I've made a few of them, but thought I should come on and show you how it's done. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you follow me on my group page. You'll find me on Facebook on Robin's Crafting Corner, and I will drop a link on my Chocolate website if you want to check us out and see what we're all about. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.